Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a wedding talk video. I don't even know what you want to call this video, but I thought I would share kind of my wedding experience, kind of things I wish I did, and I'll be answering some of your guys' questions that I asked you for on Instagram. So I'll be doing the questions first and then kind of gonna be like elaborating on them, and then at the end I'll be kind of sharing what I loved about my wedding and kind of just some tips and things that you should know if you are engaged, or maybe in general if you're just curious. Let's go. All right, question number one: what is something you wish you did different? So we have a couple of these. I feel like definitely not even I wish I did different, but I feel like I wished we just included in our wedding. So number one, we wished we had a wedding video. We were debating for a while when we were wedding planning if we want a wedding video. And then we're like, well, obviously it's gonna be nice to have one because we're gonna be able to look back on it, show our kids our wedding video. And then like we kind of backed out, and then like we were kind of hunting for videographers at the time. We couldn't find anybody. And so pretty much we ended up not doing a wedding video. And that is one thing I regret because I feel like wedding videos are so special. So I feel like if you have the opportunity to do a wedding video, please do it because you won't regret having one. This might sound kind of funny, but one of the things that I kind of regretted was the outfit I wore for my engagement photos. So the day of our engagement photos, I was planning on wearing something else, but that day was really busy for me. I had to go to work and then came home, had to go do my makeup for the engagement. And so I was rushing, and so the outfit that I wanted to wear, it didn't work out, and so I ended up wearing something that I still liked, but I just thought I wasn't going to wear that for my engagement photos. So another thing was actually I didn't have time to get my nails done for my engagement photos. So in some of my engagement photos, you can see that my nails aren't done. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them. And I feel like I should have prepped myself more and gave myself more time to prepare for my engagement photos. So I feel like I'm kind of giving a tip at the same time, like make sure that, you're prepped and you're set for your engagement photos. Another thing that I wished we did differently, or wished we did, was chose our registry more wisely. When we were getting married, I feel like we were kind of just so eager to like put a bunch of stuff on our registry that we weren't really thinking about what we were putting on. And I feel like maybe 2 or 3 years after our marriage, we finally decided that we needed new stuff. So pretty much instead of getting like non-stick pans, for example, I got like stainless steel pans and like stuff that I didn't really think about through. Like I was just kind of like clicking through items and not really thinking about what I wanted, or like what would look good in our home, or like, if it's like kitchen related, or if it's like a decorative piece or whatever. I feel like I didn't really think about that. And I feel like we just rushed, honestly. I feel like we just rushed our registry really fast and didn't really think about like what we really need and want on our registry. So it's not like we regretted the stuff that we have on our registry and that we got. Like we got awesome gifts, but I feel like we could have thought our registry out a little bit more better. So we kind of thought about this next one. We kind of wanted to do like a tunnel walk, or like have like doves, like the birds, released at the end of our wedding, but we never ended up doing anything like that. We kind of just kept our wedding simple. So I feel like I still wish we could have did something like that, like sparklers, or did like a a walkout, like a tunnel walkout with like all of our friends and family. But we didn't end up doing that. But I feel like we could have and should have did it at the same time. But I mean, that's okay. I feel like it's just like a cute way to like end off your wedding. But at the end of the day, we just kept our wedding simple. And yeah. Someone said, something I wished I knew is if your parents are involved with paying for the wedding, they should get a say in who is invited. I kind of like brought this like statement up to Artem, and we kind of talked about it. And personally, I feel like parents shouldn't have a say in who you invite to your wedding. Obviously, I get the fact that there's relatives, there's like deacons that you need to invite to your wedding, there's like certain people at church that are involved at church that you need to have at your wedding. And of course parents are gonna make sure that they're at your wedding. But let's say like close friends or certain people that you have in your life, I feel like parents shouldn't really tell you who you can't and can invite. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. I feel like parents overall shouldn't have a say in who you invite to your wedding, just because it's your wedding and you know, you get to decide who you want there. So what is something that you didn't expect or that caught you off guard during like wedding planning? So there's only one thing that I can think of that kind of caught me off guard, but like it was just like a little weird situation that happened pretty much. I feel like personally it wasn't anyone's fault, but this is just an example of what can happen. And if you are planning your wedding, I feel like you should be extra careful about this. So when we started wedding planning, we started looking for photographers, and we found this particular wedding photographer that we liked, and we decided to meet up with her. So we met up with her. The conversation was going great. She was showing us like her work, her photos, what she does the day of the wedding, like how she, you know, how she organizes herself, you know, the day of the wedding. Like we loved her. And so at the end of the conversation, we're like, okay, like we really love your work. We'd love to work with you. And so after that, we just left. And I'm not sure if this was a month before the wedding or maybe 2 months. I just know it was close to the wedding day. And so I DM'd her because I realized she's not really reaching out to me. And so I was like, hey, you never told us the final pricing that we need to pay you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that you guys ended up booking with me. And she did mention a direct deposit, but I guess there was a misunderstanding from her side and from our side. Basically, she, I guess, didn't get that we were booking with her, and we didn't get the fact that we didn't book with her pretty much. And so anyways, it was a whole misunderstanding. And I'm like, and she apologized. Like it was, you know, it was all nice. She apologized, we apologized, and pretty much I'm like, okay, now I have to find a new wedding photographer, and it's super close to the wedding. This was like the only part of like the wedding that I was kind of stressing out about. So I started messaging everybody, like everybody I knew. I was looking at random wedding photographers out of state, like at this point, just to find a wedding photographer. And so we found a really, really nice wedding photographer that we ended up booking with, and it was just, it was a good decision, and we loved her work. We loved the photos. But yeah, that was like the only thing that was a little bit off guard. But other than that, like I'd say nothing else really stood out to me during like our whole wedding planning process. The last one is, was wedding planning the way you expected it to be? I would say yes. Ever since I got engaged, like, or proposed to, as soon as I started thinking about wedding planning, I already knew kind of what it was going to look like, and I feel like it was definitely what I expected it to be. So yeah, so now I kind of want to talk about what I loved about my wedding. So we loved having our first look alone, just me and Arden. We wanted it to be kind of intimate and special, and just having us two there, not our bridesmaids or groomsmen, but just ourselves, and you know, just have it be in the moment and special. And we're so glad we did, because it was such a nice experience and it was just sweet. Another thing that I loved about my wedding was my wedding dress. My wedding dress shopping experience was super easy and stress-free. I think I only went to a total of 4 bridal shops, which is kind of, I feel like, decent. I feel like people go to way more. I think, from what I remember, I went to 4 total before I found my dress. And the dress I found did not need any alterations. So I tried it on, I fell in love with it, and basically they're like, all you'll need to do is alter it to your size. And so that's all they did. I did not have to get like sleeves fixed, or, you know, anything down below fixed on the dress, or like extra buttons added or anything, like literally nothing. My dress just came in like, you know, a few weeks before the wedding in like perfect size, and I didn't have to do anything to it. I feel like obviously it's super stressful picking out your wedding dress, because it's your wedding dress. Like, you know, you have to make sure you find the one. And so I remember my sister went with me to my very first bridal shop appointment, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait. I'm gonna find my wedding dress at this shop. And I left, I feel like, feeling so discouraged because I didn't find my wedding dress. And I'm like, you know what, whatever, it's fine. Like, I know that I'm gonna find it eventually. And then we went to the next bridal shop and I didn't find it. And then the next one, I didn't find it. And then finally the last one, it was like one of the first dresses I looked at and I tried it on and it just went like smooth after that. So another thing that I loved about our wedding was the fact that it was really simple. We didn't have like a super crazy long ceremony or reception. Our reception was definitely under 3 hours. I remember it perfectly. Me and Artem did not want to play any games at our wedding, as in me and Artem, like a couple. We didn't want to be involved in playing games, if that makes sense. We kind of wanted just the audience to participate in games. That way we can be entertained by the audience. And we just wanted to relax. I mean, it was our wedding day, so we didn't do anything extra. We just kept it super simple. Another thing that we loved, this was a big one for us, was the fact that we decided to take all of our photos before our wedding. So before the ceremony and before the reception. That way afterwards, we didn't have to worry about going to take more photos and being even more exhausted. We just wanted to take all of our photos before the wedding, and I feel like that was like the best decision that we've made. So the last thing that I loved about our wedding, and I'm not trying to say this is a bad thing to have at your wedding, but this was just, our decision and what we wanted. We loved having a macaron cake at our wedding and not a real cake. So pretty much we had like a macaron stand and we just had macarons for our wedding cake instead of having a real one. So when me and Artem were deciding if we want a real cake for our wedding, we just decided not to have one because we think if we're gonna spend money on something like that, and at the end, if there's just too many leftovers and it just ends up being tossed out, it's not worth it. So we decided to have a macaron cake at our wedding. We just had like a macaron stand and then just had a bunch of macarons stacked on top. And honestly, we love that decision. Within 10 minutes, all the macarons were gone. We still got some, obviously, but they just went so fast. And I feel like that was such a good decision because we just thought it was just smarter to do that instead of just have, a big wedding cake. But to each their own. I mean, no shame if you had a wedding cake for your wedding, but that was just what we thought was a better idea and we liked it. So all right, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment down below, like this video, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.